Thursday night means one thing. TNA Impact is back once again. And Thursday's episode had very clear theme. Pressure. The world champion is surrounded by people trying to position themselves next. The Knockouts division is heating up with personal issues that go way past wrestling. And the company is trying to tell multiple long-term stories at once. Alliances, betrayals, ambition, and a whole lot of people claiming they were wrong. But the real spine of this show, it was about loyalty. Who earns it, who weaponizes it, and who finally snaps when they don't get it. Welcome back to the T-Drop, Strong Brew, No Soft Behavior. Thursday's Impact had a little bit of everything. A strong opening tag match with championship implications, Dani and Luna bulldozing her way forward, Mickie Jane stepping into a rivalry that turned ugly in seconds, Jada Stone grabbing a huge win, and Steve Maclin finally speaking before proving he is still allergic to accountability. Let's walk through this episode the right way, with the story first, the match second, and the truth always loud. We get to the first match. Slater and Mike Santana versus the Nemeths. This match that immediately feels important. Mike Santana is the world champion, and that means every time he steps into the ring, the match is automatically a measuring stick for the rest of the show. Slater starts off fast, using speed and athleticism to win early exchanges and show that he belongs in the ring. With veterans, the Nemeths, being Nemeths, do what they do best. They show the pace, they pick up their moments, and they force you into their rhythm. Santana tries to fire off the Rollins Buck 50, but Nick catches him and the Nemeths hit the neckbreaker combo that nearly ends it right there. Slater tries to fly, but Nick catches him again and drops him with the famouser for 2, which is basically Nick saying, cute offense, kid. Now welcome to the grown-ups table. The finish is where things get interesting. Slater goes to the top rope, but Eric Young runs out and distracts him. Slater still goes for the 450 splash, but Nick gets the knees up, steals the pin, and the Nemeths walk out with a win that's bigger than it looks on paper. Because this isn't just a tag team match result on paper. This is TNA telling you that Santana is a champion with the target on his back. Slater's talented but not fully ready, and Nick Nemeth is quietly collecting reasons to demand something bigger. Backstage, Gia Miller speaks to the righteous. Dutch calls what happened as no surrender a mistake, and they say they'll do anything to regain trust. Vincent delivers a core message. Systems abandon people, but trust does not. He tells them to trust the righteous and everything will be groovy. And the key here is that this isn't a one-week story. This is a TNA slowly asking, are the righteous sincere, or are they calm voices right before the betrayal? This Nets match exists for one main reason, to remind everyone that Dana Luna hits like a truck. Leeyang comes out aggressive, landing a running knee and a running drop kick, then climbing on Luna in a corner with punches. But Luna catches her and throws her face first into the top rope in a spot that immediately shifts the match from competitive to, damn, she's in danger. Luna shows off power with a Northern Lights, lifts that transition into a back body drop, then turn Lee's attempt to fight back into a violent momentum of swings. Lee has a real rally, pump kicks, super kicks, corner punches, T-bone suplex for 2, and it's important that this match gives her moments. But Luna's entire presentation is inevitable. She introduces the chain, wraps it on the turnbuckle, and that becomes the looming threat in the match. Lee fights out of an apron suplex attempt. Luna hits a blue thunder bomb for 2. Then Luna finally forces Lee into the corner chain and follows with a German suplex, and Luna landing to win. Dani Luna's role is clear. She is not playing for good matches. She is playing for utter dominance in the TNA women's division or Knockouts division. So backstage, Tommy Dreamer and Carlos Silva offer Isha Edwards a contract. Alisha says there's too much going on, and she declines. Then Moose enters and reframes the entire situation backstage. He calls her the First Lady of TNA and says he needs her because the system has problems and he plans to handle them, but not without her. Silva emphasizes that they need her too. This is subtle manipulation wrapped in a compliment language, and it's effective. Next, we have Mance Warner comes out with Steph DeLander, and the match starts with brawling energy against AJ Francis. AJ Francis goes for a chair. The Lancer intercepts it, and it ends up in Warner's hands. Warner uses it, and he gets a disqualification. And Francis wins via DQ. This is less about the match, to be honest, and it was more about steering Warner into a direction. And the version of Warner that works best is always the one that feels like a Southern brawler who's barely being contained. And this works, for now at least. Where we go to here is Mickie James. I had an extra slide for no reason. Mickie James comes to the ring and calls out Ash by Elegance. Ash comes out and claims people are here for her entrance, not for a washed up, irrelevant Mickie. Mickie responds with something that adds real history. She talks about Ash being released, asking Mickie what to do next, and Mickie calling Tommy Dreamer because she believed Ash wouldn't disappoint her. Ash rejects the idea that Mickie helped her, saying TNA was already scouting her anyway. Then Mickie goes for the juggler. She brings up Ash picking fights online with former women's champions and asks the question that hits harder in wrestling culture. What do you think it is? Are you a mark? Ash always says she isn't. Mickie says they believe in her and she deceives them. And that is bigger than ego because Ash is disrespecting the title and the legacy attached to it. Ash makes it brutally simple. She doesn't care about the people. She only cares about the title. And she says she is better than Mickie. That's when the segment turns from promo to a potential story. We see the Elegance brand backstage and Mickie's son. Mickie runs towards the entrance and the Elegance brand attacks her. Jada Stone versus Tasha Steelz. This match is a perfect example how you build someone without over-explaining it. Jada Stone goes for a dive, Steelz avoids it, and the great hands catch Stone. Then Steelz goes for her own dive and wipes out her own allies, which creates fast chaos and keeps the match from feeling too clean. Stone hits a moonsault off the apron, Steelz takes over with corner kicks and a penalty kick for 2. They exchange pin attempts, Stone flares up with a super kick and sling blade for 2, and then the key moment hits. Stone headstands out of Steelz' cutter attempt and rolls her up for the pin, and Jada Stone wins. That's the kind of win that matters because it makes the audience go, oh, you're actually doing something with her. But Order 4 though, can't take embarrassment, so they destroy her after. The great hands throw her back in. Steelz hits the cutter. The Order 4 stands tall and laid out Stone, so the win builds Stone. The beatdown builds the faction, and everybody leaves the segment with a purpose. Now, before I recapture what I lost. Guys, pause. I'm gonna have to, so from my understanding, it looks like you guys didn't even see my TNA review. So I'm thinking, oh no, there it is. Sorry, this is gonna be the biggest editing of the week is a TNA video, which usually doesn't take that long to edit. But unfortunately, okay. So no. We got it. You guys watch my TNA stuff. Let's see how far it got. I should have watched it before, and I apologize, guys. Let me see where it stopped. If it stops on this match, we're good. We're good. It's like crazy. All right. I think we're good. No, we're not good. So we're going to have to do an edit maneuver because now I have to do the backstage segment because you guys didn't hear the backstage segment. So we'll go to that. And if you guys want to just watch it more organized, you're going to have to watch the edit clip on Wednesday. So let's do the backstage. Backstage, Jody Brett is found laid out backstage. Santino Marella arrives, and Daria Ray immediately unloads on him, blaming him for letting things spiral, specifically mentioning that she warned him not to give Ariana Grace a title shot, and he did anyway. She tells him to get it together. This is TNA expanding chaos outward. When people get attacked backstage, it shouldn't just be that happened. It should cause panic, blame, and leadership pressure. This does. So finally, we get to move to segment. I'm just hopping around, guys. And yeah. Anyway, we move on to the Steve Maclin segment. Tom Hannafin introduces Steve Maclin, who comes out flanked by security. That visual alone tells you TNA wants this to feel serious. Hannafin asks Maclin to explain why he's done what he's done to Mike Santana. Maclin immediately says this is not about Santana. He insists for once it's about him. He talks about opening the briefcase and seeing the paper that said he was fired. He described it like a moment that rewired his brain. Like reality finally confirmed what he already felt, that he was dispensable. Then Maclin reframes Santana as the selfish person in the company. He talks about serving in the Marine Corps, about brotherhood, about loyalty, and says that brotherhood was broken long before he attacked Santana. Hannafin pushes back and asks if Maclin holds himself accountable at all. Maclin brings up Turning Point, saying Santana wasn't there, claiming he had to catch a meeting, and Maclin labeled it selfish. Maclin then turns it on Hannafin, accusing him of sounding just like them. Triggering. Maclin says he thought Hannafin will be on his side. Then Maclin pulls the ultimate manipulation card. He claims the only reason Hannafin has his job is because Maclin got it for him. Hannafin admits that part is true and says it kills him that Maclin doesn't have a job. He says he personally did everything he could for Maclin, but the harsh truth is that you can't help someone who won't listen. And that's where the segment becomes the most real. Because Hannafin isn't insulting him, he's grieving him. And then Maclin punches Hannafin in the stomach, Santana's music hit, and Santana runs out through the crowd. And Maclin retreats like a man who wants chaos but no consequences. Matt Rehwoldt confronts Maclin, asks him what his problem is, and Maclin shoves him down too. This is a strong angle, because Maclin isn't just angry, he's unraveling. And we move on to the main event between the Hardys and Righteous taking on the System. And this starts with Gia Miller joining Matt Rehwoldt at commentary, replacing Hannafin after the previous segment. The main event is the Hardys and the Righteous versus the System. The match has a lot of moving parts, but the core idea is clear. The uneasy partnership continues. The Hardys still aren't sure they should trust the Righteous, while the System fights like a unit, trying to reassert control. We get classic Hardy sequences, frequent tags, and a chaotic second half where multiple finishes attempts stack up. Ultimately, though, the System wins via pinfall, and the post-match breakdown continues. We get Moose running out, but he gets taken down too. Then Alisha Edwards arrives and orders the System to get out. And that becomes the closing image for this week's TNA. The System trying to enforce dominance, Moose trying to fight alone, and Alisha stepping into chaos as a stabilizing force. Or maybe as a power player choosing her side. So this episode of Impact had a strong structure because it felt like multiple stories moving forward at once. Santana's world is getting crowded. Danita Lupa keeps rising with unstoppable momentum. Mickie James just got dragged into a personal war. Jada Stone got a meaningful win and then got reminded what Order 4 does to people who stand out. And Steve Maclin proved that the problem isn't that he was fired, the problem is that he refuses to look inward. This was a show built on pressure and consequences. Well, hey, Big Rudy. And if TNA keeps paying these threads off with real escalation like the Mickie and Maclin angles, they're going to have something special cooking in the next coming weeks. So can't wait for what develops next for TNA and for the future PLEs that they do, or pay-per-views, whatever they will call it. So that's the T-Drop. Strong Bruce, no soft behavior. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this week's Thursday night TNA Impact and what do you hope comes next. And I will see you on the next video.